Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Annie650S and you might have seen a video of me a couple of weeks ago doing an intro on my Lotus Exige 410 that I just picked up. I've also alluded to the fact that I've got an RS5 that I've owned for over a year now, so I figured it was only right to do a video on the RS5, and there it is. Look how pretty it is. It's Nardo grey, it's an RS5 Sportback Carbon Black Edition. So without further ado, let's have a look. It's a 2.9 litre V6 running about 444 horsepower, 600 newton meters of torque, 443 pound-foot. 0 to 60, 3.9 seconds officially, and apparently it will do 155 mile an hour top speed. Not that I can say I've tried that, to be honest. Weighs about 1700 kilos, but to be honest, it's a car that you don't really care how much it weighs because it's a nice luxurious bus. Okay, so what you might notice is the fastback styling. I really like this. Now the RS5 comes in a coupe and a fastback, and the difference is that the coupe has a different shaped boot basically, and also the coupe has 2 doors rather than 4 doors or 5 doors I'd normally say, but people know it's 4 doors. I bought the 5-door one because I wanted something that I could fit loads of stuff in, had loads of space. You know, I could carry my grandma around if I needed to, and yeah, basically just a bit more practical, I guess. I've always had second cars, so I don't need something that's not particularly practical and maybe looks a bit sporty, although I actually again prefer the fastback styling on these. So compared to the A5, it's slightly longer and slightly wider. Again, this is the carbon black edition, so you've got carbon fibre here, which you can see. You've got carbon fibre. I don't believe this is actually real carbon, if I'm totally honest. I think it's something plastic, carbon reinforced plastic, I don't know. Anyway, don't think it's real carbon, so fake carbon here, fake carbon here, fake carbon on the front as you just saw, and then inside, which we'll have a look at in a second. So two really cool things that I wanted to point out about this car is the headlights when you turn on. It's really cool. And then also on the door sill, when you open the door at night, you've got the little light on the ground, which I think is one of the coolest things about this car. I absolutely love it, and everyone comments on it, to be fair. Okay, so in terms of practicality, because that's what this car is all about. First thing, boot space. You can fit a family of 5 and probably 3 dogs in there. It's huge. And also the way that the boot opens up is really handy. As I say, you can put the seats down, get as much stuff in there as you want. I've carried things in here that definitely probably shouldn't be carried in the back of a car this size. But there we go. Right. Also, just point to note, if you are ever looking for your locking wheel nut, and you can't find it and you think that the tyre man has stolen it the last time they were here, it's here. So you go into the boot, I'll just show you, press this down, and then you need to unscrew this, okay, and your locking wheel nut is there with some other stuff. It looks like it should be elsewhere in the boot, but it's not, it's there, which is kind of handy. I also believe you get some oil with it and first aid kit and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, little what's this called? That's a triangle. So if you ever get stuck somewhere, you've got the triangle, which is something that you normally have to buy. I've got to try and work out how to put this back in now. There we go. Another 12-volt charger there. So let's have a look inside. So rear seats, again, huge, leather, white stitching, kind of basic. I like it. You know, you've got loads of leg room in there. And then in the front, so this is one of my favourite things, again, about this car. There's a lot of favourite things about this car, to be fair. The RS seats, they're really cool. So I know some people have got like different coloured stitching and things like that on the RS seats, but mine's just you know, kind of embossed, is that the word, or embeveled? Which, yeah, I think looks cool. Then we've got more carbon on the doors, and carbon in here. And then you've got this really nice centre console. You can see my glasses in there. Yeah, really nice centre console, which has loads of space for things. I have cup holders, which I don't have in the Lotus. Oh my God. And space. If I just come back round, And then you've got more storage in there. One of those. I'm going to get ripped in the comments for one of those. Oh, and then the other thing you'll see in that one of the videos from the night is the lights on the door handle. So you get this really nice screen, which has got a load of stuff on it. I'm not going to go onto Android Auto because it has my address on it currently, which I obviously don't want the internet to see. But you know, you've got radio, so you've got DAB, and you've got, I mean, 50 million radio channels here. When I go abroad, I can access the local channels. Obviously, it just updates automatically. It's brilliant. Music, phone, sat nav. Now I tend to use the Google Maps because I don't find the sat nav that great. But yeah, got some really nice stuff on there. One thing is really cool is if I just put it in reverse and then take it out, this camera is awesome. So look, so I can have any view I want, pretty much. Now I believe the Vorsprung, you've got a 360 camera, and they didn't put it on the carbon black. Now I bought the carbon black because I didn't really want all of the extra driving aids that come on the Vorsprung. So yeah, I'm to be honest, you know, this is more camera than I've ever had in the previous car, so I'm happy with this. And look how clear and beautiful it is. Now you do have to clean your cameras often, otherwise it becomes not very clear and not very beautiful quite quickly. Right, I'm just going to do a quick startup video on this. So I'm going to put you on the ground and give a little rev and a start up and see what it sounds like. Okay, so just another couple of things that I want to do, talk about the car that I didn't speak about outside. Firstly, it is an 8-speed automatic, but you've got the flappy paddles, so you can drive it manually if you want, i.e. switch down gear, happy days, blah, blah, blah. And it's got a couple of different driving modes. So if I put it into manual, I've got manual. In auto, you've got dynamic and sport. Depending on how you're driving, the car will then change the way it reacts. So for example, if you're driving a bit fast and you're on a bit of a spirited one, it will then, you know, have quicker gear changes, pick up the speed more. Weirdly makes more noise, even though I don't think it's necessarily like supposed to. I don't know. But yeah, and then it tends to put itself in sport. But yeah, so it will change the way the car drives depending on how you're driving. You know, if you're just pootling along at 50 mile an hour, it's, again, everything's slower, more comfortable. You know, it reacts to how you're driving essentially. You've then got RS mode. You've got 2 RS modes, and they're quite customizable. So you can set up the RS modes however you want, and you can change the suspension setup. So comfort, a bit stiffer again. It will change the acceleration. It then also changes the noise. So if I put it into RS mode, so you might be able to hear that that's popping and banging. It is quite an artificial sound. It's not necessarily like the Lotus, you know, is engine noise. Let's put it back into auto because I don't want to be doing gears while I'm chatting to you. So yeah, so just because I have done, you know, quite racy gear changes just then, put it into RS mode, it's now switched from dynamic in the auto mode to sport. So it's now got S2 on it. So I'm just going to put it back into comfort. The other thing that it does do in RS mode is, again, enhances the throttle response, makes it a bit more direct in the steering, because the steering's quite, shall we say, boaty in normal mode. Whereas, as I say, dynamic mode kind of stiffens everything up, puts the steering a lot more direct, and kind of makes it a lot more fun to drive. I actually find it really hard to say what I love and what I don't love about this car. Because it's not really that car for me. It does everything that I need it to do so perfectly that there's not really anything that I can say that I don't love. Actually, no, that's a lie. I don't love the depreciation. That thing has absolutely tanked. I've owned it for a year and 4 months, I think, and I think I've lost about 30 grand on it. So I bought it at 6 months old for just over 80 grand, and they're probably now worth about 60. So to be honest, if you're looking for one, absolute steal at 60 grand because I've taken all the depreciation on it. Fun times. So yeah, okay, that's the only thing I don't love is the depreciation. So it's probably easier to tell you why I bought the car. So I, at the time, when I bought the McLaren back in December 2021, about months before that, I bought a Seat Leon because I knew that I wasn't going to want to drive the McLaren every single day. So I bought this 64 plate Seat Leon. It was black, another black car. I've had 8 black cars in a row now. And funnily enough, I don't own any black cars now because obviously this is Nardo grey and then the Lotus is grey as well. Oh yeah, I've got two grey cars now. Maybe grey is the new black. I used to call it Thompson Black because my last name's Thompson. So yeah, I bought this Thompson Black 64 plate Seat Leon. You know, was confident I was going to drive it everywhere and I'd drive it every day, and it was the best thing since sliced bread. I then bought the McLaren, and the month later, which I knew was going to happen, and I would come out every single day and go McLaren, Seat, McLaren, Seat, and I'd get straight in the McLaren, and then eventually it just became second nature that I would come straight out and get in the McLaren. And I think the Seat probably maybe did 5,000 miles in a year, and the McLaren did considerably more than that. I'm not going to tell you how many, but it was considerably more than 5,000. I was like, hey, I need something that I'm going to want to drive every day because I'm putting all these miles on the McLaren, and the McLaren is then getting more expensive. You know, it ran on V-Power only, so it was horrendous basically to run. And so I was like, right, okay, I need something luxurious that I want to come out in the morning, get in, you know, on a icy, windy, wet, rainy day, snowy day, whatever. I'm going to want to get into that car and not get into the McLaren. So it was between this and a BMW. I knew I wanted either one of these or a BMW M4, so I drove both. The M4, in my opinion, was a much better driver's car. So I had a lot more fun driving the M4, you know, going around roundabouts and all that sort of stuff. It had a lot more feedback through the steering wheel. If it was going to be my only car, I'd have bought the M4 hands down without even thinking about it. However, everything else about this car was what I wanted. So you know, it's still fast. If I need to overtake someone, I'm not trying to do that for 10 minutes and causing an accident. It's comfortable. I prefer the interior to the BMW. You know, I'm quite happy just wafting around in this car at 50 mile an hour and don't feel like I need to drive it like a complete twit. And that was everything I wanted from a car. I wanted something that, as I say, and also the 4-wheel drive. So something that I would get in every day. It would get me from A to B in style, in luxury. I enjoyed where I was. Everything worked, you know, and it was the kind of the German engineering. I knew I didn't want a Mercedes. No offense to anyone who's got one. I just don't really like them. So again, it was always going to be between the M4 and the Audi. Now I did also consider an Alfa, but again, never got to drive one. So I just, and also the Alfa, I think, would have been a bit like the BMW, where again I'd want to be driving it like a tit, and also it was rear-wheel drive only rather than 4-wheel drive, and I knew that I wanted a 4-wheel drive car, so the Alfa was kind of already out of the picture already, but although it was a strong contender in terms of fun to drive and stuff like that. Now, anyone who tells you that Audis are fun to drive is lying to you, frankly. You know, excluding the R8 maybe, but in terms of actual driver engagement and feedback through the steering wheel and being really connected to the car, you don't buy an Audi if that's what you want. And that's not why I bought this car. I bought this car because I wanted the luxury and you know, I wanted everything to work and the tech, and it's such a lovely place to be. You know, I can lead the supercar club while getting a massage. Like, what else can you do that in with a map that works? You know, you have the Google Play come through. It just, everything about it is just spot on. Like, and I bought it because as I say, I wanted a car that worked. I knew it was going to get me from A to B. It had the 4-wheel drive, all that sort of stuff. I didn't buy it because I wanted something that I could smash around the B roads on and have an absolute blast in. I've got the Lotus for that, had the McLaren for that before, and that's why, in my opinion, it is the perfect daily. So to answer the question of what I love about the car, I love that it does everything the way it is supposed to do it. Like, Audi have absolutely nailed it. The styling, the interior, again, the fact that everything works, the tech, you know, the simple kind of cockpit that you've got. I find the BMW thing with the, you know, with the massive screen that goes all the way across just a bit, I don't know, it just kind of messes with my brain a bit. I can't get on board with it. Yeah, it's just, again, everything about this car is just spot on. It's the way it is supposed to be. And honestly, for the money, you know, again, as I say, they're sitting around 60 grand, I think, at the minute. That is it's so much car for the money. Yeah, it's just, you know, if you want a nice, fast, luxurious car that works, as I say, the tech works, everything works. It does everything exactly the way it's supposed to do it. And also, you know, give you a bit of fun on the twisties if you need it at any point. Yeah. It's just a fantastic car. Just an absolutely fantastic car. So if you enjoyed that video, do like, subscribe, comment, let me know. My dad also has an S3 supercharged 220 Elise, which I'm going to do a back-to-back comparison on. So I'll do my Exige and his Elise in one video, so that people can get an idea on the differences, or if you're thinking about upgrading or to an Exige, or, you know, you're just thinking about getting an Elise, how it compares with the Exige, all that sort of stuff. And he's also got an Audi A5, so again, I was going to do a similar thing with the A5 and the RS5. So if you'd like to see those, do let me know. Otherwise, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.